Hi guys, Chapo Sam here. So excited to be part of the In the Forest 5 Days to Fabulous. So figured I'd do my little introduction with my little forest as my backdrop. This is off my balcony. I'm so excited to be with you, and I'm going to share with you the secrets hidden in your birth date. Oh my God, there is so much there. And I've got it all planned out with 3 massive takeaways that will help you embrace, enhance, and empower yourself. Because let me tell you, this is all about you. Well, what I want to do is step inside my office because it's a tad noisy up here. So hang on a second, I'll be right back. Okay, welcome to my office. And now we're going to dive deep into all things wonderful about you, because this is all for you. So how about I explain a little bit more about me so you kind of know what you're getting into, if you dare. So I'm Chapo Sam. I'm trained in Chinese metaphysics. And I basically know the 5 arts of Chinese metaphysics, and they are the alchemy of the immortals, which is basically understanding qi, which is the elixir of life, the art of healing, which is to do with the feng shui and the environment, the art of fate, which is Bazi, Chinese astrology, the art of physiognomy, which is actually Chinese face reading, and the art of divination, which is something called qi men dunjia. So I'm quite well-rounded in Chinese metaphysics, and I've been in the business for over 10 years, and I absolutely love my job. But the area that really speaks to me, that people always come to me for, is astrology. So that's why I decided that this would be the most useful information to give to you that you can take away and put into play in your life immediately, even if you don't have a Sam. I mean, personally, I think you should have me. But if you don't, you'll have this. So we're going to talk about 3 main areas. I'm going to show you how to embrace your true self, to understand who you are and why you do the things you are. I'm going to show you how to enhance your life, your career and personal life, using your very own superpowers, understanding your toolbox. And I'm going to show you how to empower your every move by understanding the timing in your life, your personal timing. Now, I have condensed this. This is a masterclass for you. And please refer to your handout because I've put everything in there that you need to know. But don't make the mistake of not listening to this video, because I say more here than I write there, because I'm rather chatty. So are you ready to dive into the first part? Okay, well, the first thing we need to do is actually show you what your birth chart looks like. So I'm hoping you had the opportunity to go to my site, chaposam.com, go to the calculators, click on Day Master, and get your birth chart and take a screen grab, a photo, whatever it is you like, because I want to show you what's inside that, what information is there. So I've created an avatar, as in just made up a date, and I've created a birth chart, and I want to show you what pieces of this chart look like. So you're going to see me disappear for a minute, but trust me, I'm with you. And before you know it, we'll be back eye to eye. Okay, so let's dive in and look at our avatar. So this is a birthday. I put in my calculator and then I hit the calculate button. And for this example, I did know the hour. Well, actually, I made it up. It's just a made up birth date to give you a visual. So what we're looking at is the very top line of those stems, and the bottom line are the branches. That is the information that creates the Bazi chart, the 8 Chinese characters. Yes, I know there's a 3rd line here that I'm showing you that's called hidden stems. That's more for me to know about rather than you. You don't need that to follow along today and to make great decisions with the information you're going to learn. Each year, month, day, and hour has a top and a bottom, and it creates a pillar. They stand on top of each other, okay? So each pillar holds very specific information about you and about your relationship with other people, with places, with timing. It's your relationship with your actual skill set. It's your health. There's so much, it's like a plethora of information stored inside this visual. But let's dive in and do one at a time. So the first one we're going to look at is the year pillar. Now, the year pillar is fascinating to me because it talks about the relationship you're going to have with your grandparents, with mentors, you know, your social media presence, that global presence. So those words, the key factor there is they're slightly further away. So the year pillar represents things that are slightly further away from you. They're not immediately around you. They're not immediately touching you, but they're very important to you. But there is a distance there. Now, the next pillar, the month pillar, well, that's a little bit closer to home. That will be, it's going to be about your parents, your career, your life focus, your work environment. And what I mean by giving you those 4 heading words is the month pillar is actually the most crucial pillar in there. Yes, the day, I'm going to focus on that. But the month pillar, just like Western astrology, is a pivotal point. The month pillar will either support the day of the birth, the day master, or not. If you've chosen not to have a career outside the home, that your focus is inside the home, well, that is your career, right? That's your life focus. And your work environment could be your home environment. It could be so many things. So we have to remember to always flex what we see and don't get hung up on any particular word. Now, the next pillar is the day pillar. And you can, as you saw when you played on the calculator, the day master is slightly shaded because that's the real McCoy. That is you to a T. So to give you an example, your year pillar, which is the one we know from Chinese restaurants, right? We go in there, we see those lovely placemats, we read them, we have a laugh, we have a chuckle, on we go with our chow mein. Well, the year pillar is only 1/365th of you, right? The month pillar is 1/12 of you. The day pillar is you. Absolutely you. So now, when you go into these Chinese restaurants, I want you to read all the animals in your birth chart. And I want you to look at them differently. For example, you might read the year animal that you have and realize that is your connection to the mentors and your grandparents and people of authority over you. You're going to read the animal that's in your month pillar and look at your direct work environment, who you're working with, what your focus is, what you want to do with your life is. And your day pillar is all you. So this is the one I really want you to focus on, actually. And this becomes so important because it's really about who you are. It's very much your essence, your sense of self, and it carries your well-being, which can also be your health. But health actually transfers into many other parts of your chart as well. You cannot nail health down to one thing. It's one of the elusive parts of the whole thing. But the self pillar, this day pillar, is where your thoughts and ideas are generated. So this is when, if you're someone that says, oh my God, I can never stay focused on one thing, chances are you've got a very fiery chart, which this example by chance has. If you're someone that has, I'm going to say brown colors in your day pillar, that's going to be a lot of the earth element. That's someone that often stops and thinks about things and can get held up by that, can procrastinate. If you've got lots of blue, and I'm being a bit easy with colors here, but if you've got lots of blue in your day pillar, you're someone whose ideas are very free flowing and you're constantly on the move. So the day pillar really does give away so many secrets about you. And one of the really key things here is in the day pillar is something called the house of spouse. It's your significant other. So old-fashioned name, house of spouse, meaning your married partner. Modern day times, not everybody gets married, but they often have a significant other. So this becomes very important when people are coming to me for questions on relationships, because I'm going to look right here to see if it's being hurt in any way or if they need to work on that. Now, the hour pillar is the infinite side of you. It's a very private side of you. It's okay if you don't have your hour, because a lot of people who are over the age of 29, like myself, often don't have the hour because it wasn't recorded when we were born. So always focus on what you do know, not on what you don't. And the calculator gives you an option to not have an hour there. But if you do have it, brilliant, because it becomes very important as we age. Now, the hour pillar tells me a lot about your relationship with children. If you choose not to have children, it can be people that work for you, your subordinates, your team. It's people under your authority. It's also a key area to look for investments, and it's very much your sex life. Okay, it's hidden there. There's a very little cheeky trick on that. If we have something called peach blossom that jumps the wall, if there's a certain configuration in the hour, this will show me someone who likes to play the field, which can be tricky inside a marriage because this is outside of the marriage. But the hour pillar primarily is very private. It's where your secrets are. So all 4 pillars really add up to pieces of you. They are not you exactly, but their relationship with the things around you. Now, is there something else hidden in that lovely chart? Yes, there is. There's actually a timeline. Now, we're not going to get hung up exactly on these numbers, but they are approximately correct. So the year pillar represents your life between the age of 0 to about 17. So I look at that and I can tell when there were external disturbances, internal disturbances, or things that created change in your life, how you were shaped by those mentors, grandparents. Your month pillar is approximately 17 to 35. Again, we're going to use the ish word here, okay? It's approximately. So that's a key point in your life where you're building your career. Now, the day pillar is approximately, 36 to 60. This is the only one that I will say it exactly ends at 60 to a T, because there is an actual cycle of 60 years in Chinese metaphysics where things begin again. So at 60 is a pivotal time in your life, in everybody's life. And then the hour pillar is our retirement. Okay, it's how we close off our life. Because in Chinese metaphysics, we read from the right to the left. So we read from the year, month, day, and hour. Now, there's actually another timeline involved, but it's not the static chart of when you were born, because that is solid. Once you're born, you're born. There is actually a dynamic timeline as well. We call them luck pillars. And that is a talk for another day. Wow. That was probably a lot to take in, right? You're probably thinking, oh my God, I thought my birthday was just when I got a cake. And now Sam's saying it's got all this stuff in there. Yeah, I am. And there's so much more hidden in your birth date. But we're going to keep this nice and streamlined so you've got great takeaways. What I do want to point out is that my calculator online, the one you have access to, doesn't take into account daylight savings and doesn't take into account location. So there are some discrepancies possibly with the hour. That's only something I can do when I'm doing your chart and I'm being very specific. But overall, you can trust it. It's absolutely built very well. I'm just saying there could be some slight changes in your hour because it depends on where you were born. All right. I want to talk a little bit about when I talked about stems and branches, what they are. So you probably saw that the stems across the top of your birth chart, they're elemental. Okay. They're the 5 Chinese elements, which would be water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. Now, these elements have qualities and they split into something called a daymaster, which can be the 5 elements turned into 10 because they have a yin and a yang polarity. But here we're going to keep it tight. So first of all, we're just going to talk about the type of energy. So when I talk about water energy, when I'm looking at your chart, water will show me where your wisdom is, where your freedom of thought, freedom of movement, that desire you might have to be free. It can be creative, your creative talent hidden deep inside. It's silently powerful, can be forceful, and can be unrelenting, but can also be delicate like the mist, the early morning mist, the dew on the flowers in the morning. Because there's always a yin and a yang. There's 2 sides to everything. Now, wood is a different type of energy altogether. It's very emergent. It's very growth orientated. It's often academic. It's where we look for academics. It can also be romantic, but wood and water together, they're romantic. It's also creative and can be manipulative. So it depends if it's a yin or a yang polarity and if it's strong or weak. But basically, that's the element. Now, fire is different again. Fire is very showmanship. Fire, when someone has fire, you know it because they like to be the life of the party. They like to be the center of attention. They have no hesitation getting on stage. Yes, I have lots of fire. And they love to share because fire gives life to things. It shows the way. There are 2 types. There's a big explosive fire and a small fire. And we're going to talk about those a bit further in. But for now, I just want you to think of fire as being, it does warm people up. It has leadership abilities. There's also an intuitive side to fire. Okay. And fire is very clever. It can go underground and then pop up somewhere else. So it's quite unrelenting. Now, earth, when we see earth in a birth chart, that's a whole different ballgame again, because it's very still and stable. Fire moves, water moves, wood grows, earth sits. So earth is very stable, very trustworthy. You can rely on it. So when I look for these elements in a chart, when I'm reading them, these are the qualities I'm going to see in the person. Now, they'll be dependent on if they're together, how they're affected. Just giving you the once over. Earth is also really good for networking and building. Think of bricks made out of clay, right? They're made into building bricks and then they're put together to build something. So earth is very collective and it likes to bring things together. Metal can be a little bit sharp, but it can be very finite and it can be quite brilliant. Not in the fire way of like, here I am on stage. This is more of the, I'm sparkling. I've got sparkles like a diamond. So there's a brilliance with metal that comes through in people. But it can also be, here's the funny one. When I see metal in people, I'm often watching because they might come out, there's a sense of humor there, and they might come out with something and I'll think, did they just caress me or cut me down to size? I'm not quite sure, because that sarcasm hid the slice of that comment. So you'll know when someone's got metal in them. So I know you're thinking, Jane down in the typing pool or John in shipping got some of that. Yes, I bet you they do. Because these stems, they're what we show people. Whereas the branches, that second line, they're underneath the stems. They're more hidden. Their actual characteristics, traits, they're actually far more important than the stems. But the stems are what we let people see. The branches are what we keep hidden. Now, the branches are 12 Chinese animals, and I'm going to give you a tiny little bit on each one. The first one up is rat, which interestingly enough, in Chinese metaphysics, is pronounced Z. And that's why Bazi. That's where it comes from, because the rat is the leader of the 12 animals. Bet you didn't know that. Bet you thought it was a dragon or a horse or something, right? The rat. Rat. When I see a rat in someone's chart, I know they've got some deep-seated intelligence. I know they can be a little bit elusive. They can be very thoughtful. There is a little bit of a darkness there. So we have to watch that, because I can see emotions dip down and they're definitely a little bit elusive. Now, moving through all 12, just quickly, I'm going to give you a little tidbit. I've put more in your handout, but I'm going to give you a tidbit here. Your ox, ox is really the steady Eddie. So when I see it in someone's chart, I know they're going to be completely reliable. I know they're going to get the job done. They're going to put their head down. They're going to plow through it, just like an ox. So these analogies I'm giving to you, I'm not being flippant with Chinese metaphysics. I'm putting it in a way to help you remember. So please understand that I'm completely serious about what I do most of the time. But the ox is also very stubborn. They can hold their ground. You ever tried to move an ox? Or I haven't actually met an ox, but I've seen it. When they've tried to move an ox, ain't happening, right? When that ox says, no, I ain't moving, I ain't moving. So there's definitely a deep-seated stubbornness in there. Now, a tiger's quite interesting. A tiger it brings an energy forward to someone in their chart that can be spontaneous, unpredictable, quite often fun-loving. Quite often people that have a tiger in their chart, they have a thirst for doing new things, which can be problematic because sometimes they're not satisfied with what they've got because they think the grass is greener. Be careful of that. But I do like tigers. They have a feistiness and they're street smart. Different from highly intelligent, different from clever, but street smart. Now, a rabbit. Rabbit, when I see that in a chart, I know this person's going to be thoughtful. I know they're going to be educated. Could be book smart, could be street smart, could be life smart, but they've educated themselves in some format. I'm going to mostly say it's books, actually, but education is important to them, or learning things, having information at hand. They're the people that go out and get information. They're very supportive, can be shy, and there's often romance hidden in there, but they're shy, so it may not come out right away. Now, the dragon, my favorite Chinese animal, actually. Dragons are the powerhouses in the chart. In the 12 Chinese animals, they are. Dragons are all about career. So when I see that in a chart, if I see it in your chart, depending on where it is, I know that you're going to have be quite driven in a project. So it might not be career. You may not choose to have a career outside the home. But whatever you choose to put your eye on, you're going to get it done, and you're going to do it really, really well. Now, interesting side note about dragons. In the olden days in China, I don't know if it still happens today, but in the olden days when they were matchmaking, if they saw a dragon in the female chart and the lady's chart, it would often go as a strike against her, because in the olden days, the woman was supposed to completely support the husband, right? She was just to do everything for him. He was to be the focus of her life. And if they saw a dragon in her chart, the concern would be that she would not do that. She'd want to get her own career and have her own life. I actually think it's true. I think it's true that they looked at that, and I think it's true in a chart. When I see dragons in birth charts, and I have one, when I know that that person's going to be quite career driven, and it can interfere with relationships. So it's an interesting animal to see. Now, snakes. I feel bad for snakes. They have such a bad rap. You know, it's like, oh, if you got a snake, you know, oh, snake in the grass. Oh, negative, bad. Let's flip that around. What I love about seeing a snake in a chart is a snake can shed its skin. So to me, that tells me someone can say, hey, I want to rebirth myself. I want to do things differently. I'm shrugging off the stuff, the cloak that has held me down, and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to change direction, try something new. So I love that. Snake has a forked tongue, accused of lying. Oh my God, that person has a forked tongue, they're lying. Let's spin it around. Maybe when someone has a forked tongue, they can say things in two different ways. I have a snake in my chart. I do not lie. It does not come naturally to do that, but I'm a great storyteller. So I can say to a client, oh, God, just read your chart. You might want to, you know, run for the hills. It's not looking good. Or I can say, which is what I will say, right, read through your chart and the things you've told me, and I can see the challenges you've been having. Wow, they've really knocked you off your feet, haven't they? But I see these strengths in you. And if we work on those, you're actually going to be able to turn this situation around. So let's put this together. I've said the same thing. I just said it very differently. So a snake, when I see it in someone's chart, there is an intelligence there because they're able to spin a story. Some would call that a lie. I call it an art. Depends, right? It can always go into a negative, but try to dispel some of the things you've heard that you've attached to the Chinese animals. Snake people, or people with a snake in their birth chart, they're often gregarious, they're fun-loving, bit of a joker. They want to go out there and get involved in everything, which is kind of cool. They can also, how do I put this? It's not observing, but you know how a snake goes through the grass, and sometimes you don't see it going through the grass. You kind of hear the grass, but you're like, I think there's a snake there. They can get around and see things that other people don't see. And it's a type of observing because people don't see them. So you can observe a lot when people don't realize you're observing. Horse full of fire. So, you know, we have this theory that this romantic view of a horse, that we see the big, you know, Western American, you know, horses. There's tons of them just charging across this landscape, and it's just a beautiful scenic movement, and the music's playing. We're like, oh, wow. Here's the thing. With that group of horses running off, there's one in the front. Horses like to lead, and they will be vying for position, always. One has to lead. One has to be the leader. So sometimes horses can self-sabotage. So I can see that in someone's chart and say, sometimes you create your own problem, don't you? Because you do X, Y, Z. But horses also have great leadership skills, great showmanship skills, will do anything for anyone. And they do have fun as well. They're, you know, very fun-loving people, but they like to roam free or run free, trot free, I guess is the word I would use, gallop free. So there is a sense of freedom when I see a horse in a chart too. They've got to do their own thing. A goat, well, you know, we have that vision of a goat on a cliff, you know, climbing this really difficult cliff. Yeah, goats can be like that. When I see it in a chart, I will often see someone, I'll see that their trait is they're very reliable, but they will also, they'll find a way through. They'll find a way to get where they need to go. Very useful trait for companies. When I'm previewing staff for companies and I see that, I can say, oh, this person is just going to literally find a way through the problem and get you where you need to be. It's a brilliant trait to have. Sometimes they can get stuck. It depends on other things in the birth chart. But I like the qualities of the goat. They're very giving. They're very reliable. They're very trustworthy. Monkey, and we're in monkey month right now. Well, monkeys are swingers. They are. They have a lot of fun. I always love throwing that comment out there. But they're very freedom loving. There is a smartness there. It's a street smart. It's not so much a book smart. It's more of just an inherent smart, self-taught smart. So I like to see that. It's kind of up there with the tiger. Funnily enough, the monkey and the tiger have some similar traits. Now the rooster, when I see it in a chart, I'm going to generally see someone that likes a level of discipline. However, what I will say, interestingly enough, when I have a rat and a rooster in a chart together, I can see things go awry and there can be addictive tendencies. So it's the one combination that can be problematic. Don't panic if you see that in your birth chart, and just find me and ask the question. I'll answer it for you. But, discipline is there, but it can go awry when it's negatively affected. So it's always important to remember that I'm laying out these 12 animals, but there could be 4 of them in your birth chart, and they all mean different things. These are just basic characteristics. But the rooster is, routine driven, can be focused, can be disciplined. Okay, sometimes too disciplined, which becomes obsessive. Dog, well, bit of a people pleaser, bit of a play on words, I guess, of a dog, but it's true. Very trustworthy, very loyal. Can be a dog with a bone, as in latch onto an idea and then not let go of it, which can be detrimental because maybe the idea is not correct. So I often, when I see this in a chart, I'll often ask people, okay, so explain to me, what have you been doing? Where have your roadblocks been? And often the roadblocks are because they keep trying something the same way. And I'm like, really? You tried it for the 3rd time and it didn't work. Have you thought of spitting that bone out and picking up a new one? It's time. And last but not least, we have a little piggy. The piggy is the last one there. When I see a pig in a chart, it's a strong water element. So I know someone's going to be intelligent, elusive, sarcastic. There's going to be a humor in there that could be quite dry, actually, and underestimated. Often pigs are underestimated. I notice it in people when I see their charts, which is a shame because there's a lot there. Now, those are the characteristics, the stems and branches, in a quick once over, and that's in your static chart. But there's actually another chart that we work with, and it's called luck pillars. So we not only look at your static chart where you were born, but I also look at where you are in your life right now, and I align the two, and that's how I know what's happening for you. So pretty heady stuff, right? The biggest reason to understand and learn about your Bazi chart is because your birth date, your Bazi, is a toolbox, okay? You're given a toolbox when you're born that you can use all the way through your life. The problem is some people turn away from their toolbox, they lock it, or they just feel it's not right for them. It's right for you. It's what was bestowed upon you at birth. Let me give you an example. How about I give you a paintbrush and I say, hey, can you do me a favor while I'm chatting? Can you pop next door and go hang that shelf? And you're going to say, okay, hold on a sec. She just gave me a paintbrush. She wants me to go and hang a shelf. Don't I need a screwdriver or a hammer maybe? Yeah, you do. That's my point. If you don't know your Bazi, if you're not aware what your tools are, you're often picking up the wrong tool. Now, you might master it. I've had people say to me, oh, really good at accounting, but I hate it. Sam, I want to change jobs. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could see that your number is, your mind loves numbers, but not accounting. Oh my God, not the thing for you, going to drive you insane. It doesn't matter that you're good at it. What could you do that you are naturally good at that can make you money and give you the life you want? That's the reason we look at Bazi, because in your Bazi chart, I can see the type of careers you're well suited to. I can see the tools you've got to know whether you're ready for that career or maybe you need some more training. You might want to change career and I might and I can point out, okay, you really need to focus on learning this because it's not a natural skill for you, so it's going to keep tripping you up. You can also look at your wealth potentials. Some of you may have heard that you don't have any wealth in your chart. You're never going to be rich. Really? How dare someone say that to you? I would never say that to a client. And I'm a great example of that because the wealth in my Bazi chart, in my static birth chart, is weak. So what that has meant is I've had to grow it. It's a great example, actually, because decisions I make are never based on money. When I'm invited to talk, my first question isn't, oh, how much is it paying? It's like, oh, what can I talk about? Oh, let me choose the subject. Or, oh, where is it? Or is it online? Is it in live? Is it whatever it is? It's never about the money. So I've had to learn actually to make things about money, but I will never be someone who puts money in front of everything I do. And that's okay. Once I understood that and took the focus off of money, everything changed. And trust me, I'm fine financially. So be careful if you've heard that, because it's not true. It's a very one-level way of looking at a birth chart. When we see that wealth is not in the birth chart, it just shows us that you've got to make it. You've got to create it yourself. So then we'll look to your skill set, your toolbox, as to how you make money. We can also see the arena of where you should go to make money. Again, I'll have to use me as the example because I don't know your chart. My arena to make money is in my year pillar and my month pillar. So it's through my career further away. So I work online. A lot of my clients are all over the world. The products I sell go globally. Where I live in BC, that's my hood. That's my home turf. That's where I have fun. That's where my friendships are. I don't turn away work locally, but I don't look for it locally. I look globally because that's what my chart supports. And again, once I did that, things smoothed out. Took me a few years to figure it out. The other thing we can see in your Bazi chart are relationships, both just interpersonal, romantic. So it's all about charisma. And there's something called peach blossom, and beautiful red peach blossom. And it's something we can identify in the chart. And if it's in a good place, it's a very loving relationship and the potential to have a long, loving relationship, or more than one, because sometimes there are more than one. If it does something called jump the wall, that's not so good. That means a third-party interference or a possibility to play the field. So consenting adults, that's going to be fine, but for most people, not fine. But peach blossom is also charisma. So when we find it in a birth chart, we can often see that people are just going to connect. So I've got a great example. I've really got a really good friend, Heath. He's got peach blossom in the year. I've got it primarily in my day. When we walk into a room together, he's Heath, hey, great to see you, man. Haven't seen you in ages. And they're all gushing over him and talking over him. And I'm like, well, what am I, the dog's dinner? Like, I don't understand. Now, the minute I either get up on stage to talk or I'm at the table and I'm talking to people, I got them because I've got that personal connection with them one-on-one. As soon as they get close to me, they're in. I've never had that fail. And it's a natural thing. I don't have to do anything. I draw people to me. So that's what peach blossom can do. And we can find it in your chart. I put it in your handout. So have a look on how you find it. The other thing we can look for is health. That's a big question. So, most people are coming forward about money, careers, love. But of course, health is right there as well. Health is harder to find. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you have a health concern, I do want you to talk to a health professional. They know what they're doing, whether it's Western or traditional Chinese medicine. I can look for weaknesses in the health and I can help direct you, but there's a point I'm going to pass you on. Everything else I can handle. I'm just very clear about that with health. So remember, awareness is key. The goal to understanding your Bazi chart is so that you are more aware of who you are and the actions you are best to take. So on that note, who is number one? Well, we're going to start with metal with something called Geng. Now, Geng is a very strong day master. It's the yang polarity of metal. When this quality, if this is your day master, the qualities you're going to have are, you're going to be very valiant, the defender of the weak, fiercely loyal. You love to fast track life and you have great leadership skills as well. Very vocal, can be a tad controlling, definitely image conscious, can be reckless, self-sacrificing, emotionally fragile. See how I'm swinging? Because nothing is ever smooth. Everything is a blend of yin and yang. All right. So keep that in mind. You can't be all good or all bad. You're a blend of things. That's what makes you so amazing. The one thing I noticed with Gengs is that you can make frenemies, which is enemies that look like friends, right? So you do have to be careful of that, and you'll often have a few in your posse. You do speak out for the underdog. I know that, and you can hold a shield high for them and protect them. So it's a very interesting day master that has actually a very soft inside. So when you meet a Geng individual, you'll know because they're quite sharp. But once you get through their barrier, once you get past their shield, they are quite different. Now, when it comes to wealth, a Geng Day Master likes to walk their own path, sometimes reverse of what others are doing, possibly just because, I'm not quite sure, probably just to prove a point, right? And they're nonconformists, and they like to go against the trends. So I do advise Gengs to beware quick get-rich-quick schemes, because they're not going to work generally. They don't anyway, but especially for Gengs, it's a weak link they have about thinking they're going to get rich quick. You're not. And industries are to do with communications, even the automobile industry, image, consulting, coaching, goldsmith, banking. There's quite a bit. So I'm not diving deep into the industries here. I'm just going to give you the basics on each day master. So the Shin Day Master is the yin polarity of metal. So a Shin Day Master enjoys the glamour, enjoys some luxury, loves a good position in life, can be attention seeking, very talented though, so can back up what they're seeking attention for. They can back it up. Quite intelligent. They value relationships, their ability to see others' perspective. But the problem with that is then someone else's opinion can hurt a Shin Day Master. So if it's you, other people's opinions can actually hurt you more than they realize. You can be competitive, easier to work in a team a lot of the time. Shin Day Master, depends though, and rationalizes emotional problems, often thirsty for knowledge too. So the Shin Day Master is very cool. I always know when I'm working with one because they have lovely clothing. They will come to a meeting completely dressed. Even if we're on Zoom, they are makeup, dressed, the whole thing. They are prepared. And they want to look very good. How their image is very important to them. Now, for wealth, it's been more of a long-term approach to wealth creation. And they kind of have a seek attention now with a bit of a now or never attitude. So they're going to be mindful of overthinking and missing opportunities about that. So research funnels for investments, very important for Shin Day Masters. Industries for the Shin would be the earth industries, which is mining, real estate, mining equipment, video communications. And there's also often a teaching aspect involved with a Shin Day Master, because what they produce is very, they want to eloquently share what they know. What about Run? So Run is Yang water. Interesting. So if you're a Run Day Master, constantly striving for the best, ready for action. Quite interesting, right? Bit of a big dreamer, focused on achievements and determined, resourceful, adaptive, unpredictable. There's a lot going on with a Run Day Master. It's actually the opposite Day Master to me. So I'm always very observant when I meet them. I either love them or I don't. And most of the ones I do really love. There's a lot of intelligence inside the Run Day Master, and there's an entrepreneurial spirit. So runs, I say that Run Day Masters are often entrepreneurs or have that spirit to be. Now, they can't always make it. It depends on other aspects in the birth chart, but they want to. So I have to watch these Day Masters carefully, because if they don't have other aspects in their chart, they're spinning their wheels being an entrepreneur. Better to work for someone else. But that entrepreneurial spirit is there and it's strong. They can be great problem solvers, very adventurous, fun-loving, don't want to be tied down, which can make them a little bit moody when they are tied down. So it's an interesting mix. They can be also unreadable. And I've learned this firsthand. I can be looking at someone, I can read faces, and I'm like, I have no clue what he or she is thinking right now, because they shut down and they don't let me in. And that water comes over and I can't see beneath it. So they're best to stay away from drama in relationships. And I will say that Run Day Masters quite often know famous people too. It's an interesting day master. Now for wealth and everything, numbers and logistics, it's a numbers and logistics game is what I'd like to say. Very analytical in the mind. So there's very driven on creating money. There's that entrepreneurial spirit that I said was there, and startups appeal, which again is great if they've got other things in the chart to back it up. So I do have to be very careful with my Run Day Masters because not everybody can pull it off. Some fall into the darker side. They do seek financial freedom. So that is great. They often will be their own financial advisor. Again, not always the best way. So again, I have to read many things in the chart. So if you're a Run Day Master, I want you to ask the question, do you seek advice when people are giving you advice on money? Because maybe you do need to listen. If you have a great financial track record, you're that strong day master, you go for it. But if you don't, maybe you need to let some other people in to advise you, all right? Industries for water would be the growth industry, the startups, logistical, educational, facts-driven, so very analytical, something that requires analyzing information, and very self-starting and very explorative. Guay. All right, so Guay is the yin water day master. So different from Run, completely different from Run. Can be a little bit ambiguous, definitely elusive. Very supportive and creative, though. There's still the free-flowing. There's a lot of wisdom in Guay. There's spontaneity in Run, but there's wisdom in Guay. Often you'll see someone, you think, oh, wow, they're wise beyond their years. Yes, they have Guay water in their chart. They're very kind, agile, inspirational, creative and idealistic about the world. They can communicate quite well, generally, and they're very honorable and community-minded. They're also thought-provoking. So the conversations you have with a Guay day master is they're thought-provoking conversations, but they won't tell you what to do. They'll just say something that makes you think differently and maybe rethink what you thought. They have the ability to draw others out, and they can be quite contemplative at times, a little bit secretive, which can lead to some anxiety. So there is a level of anxiety that's just under the surface with a Guay. Can be a bit temperamental, but there's an ambition there. So it's a bit of a heady mix for a Guay. They do prefer to work alone, quite versatile and results orientated, but definitely passion driven. And when it comes to money, they know that money works for them, not the other way around. Now, not every day master can say that. We often all get on the hamster wheel. Guays have it figured out. And they know that their ideas make money. The industries are often visionary industries, something value focused, something educative, creative, coaching, journalism, teaching. It's just a natural skill that they have. Jar. Jar is the tall tree in the forest. It's the yang wood day master. I actually feel sorry for jars sometimes because they are this big tall tree. And I often say, that's great, you're a standout. The problem is when you're the tallest tree in the forest and a lumberjack walks in with an axe over his shoulder, who does he find first? Tallest tree. So often I've noticed with jars, if there's something going down at the office, they're the ones that get picked on first or pointed out first or held up as an example, both positive and negative. So it can be a bit of a tricky swing for a jar. What I like about the jar day master, though, is that it's someone that will be very straightforward, very devoted, perseverant, dedicated, very upstanding too, like a tall tree, okay? Cannot be swayed easily. Those roots are firmly in the ground. The beliefs are strong. They have a genuine heart and very loyal, but sometimes a bit too unmovable. So the loyalty is there, but they just can't budge an inch. And you're like, if you could just see it from a different point of view, and they're like, nope, cut and dried. And you're like, oh God, it's not, it's gray. It's not black or white, but a jar sees black and white. The challenge too, I've noticed, is sometimes their career moves can be overlooked, which is interesting to me because jars are very tall, this tall tree, right? And yet I've just said to you, they can be overlooked. How does that happen? It does. It's because they put all the hard work in and they just get passed over. So they really have to work to make sure that the powers that be see the work they're doing so they get the recognition in a positive light. They're quite innovative, but they are singular in their approach to work, which is why I think sometimes they get overlooked, because the team player, the one that everyone's talking about, is noticed. The one that's just sitting in the corner office getting the work done, the work's done, but they forget who did it. So I think that's where it plays out, actually. They can cultivate relationships that give back, but there's a bit of a calculative mindset there with a jar. There's often something they want. There's a reason why they've made that relationship. And there can be a little bit of jealousy involved, and there's like a laser focus there. So there's a little bit of interesting undercurrent. For the financial position, where they stand financially is very important to them. It means a lot to be financially stable. They often follow their own advice, but they are good at researching it. So it's different from what I just mentioned. This is someone with the jar that can often walk the walk of the talk, right? They can do the research and say, I can advise myself because I've done the research. Industries are actually wood crafts, computers, technology, technology-based industries, teaching again. So why I'm not giving you a definitive list of careers or industries is because it will depend on many factors in the chart. What I'm giving you here are the basics of the day master, okay? So keep in mind, if you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm a jar day master and I'm a cook. She didn't say I could be a cook. I have to change jobs. No, we'll probably find when I look at your chart, there's another dominant factor that bumped jar off the plate when it came to your career. So if jar was the yang position of wood, what is the yin? That would be yi. Yi, when I see yi as a day master, yi is very delicate, adaptive, persuasive, manipulative. So where jar was a tall tree, yi is that vine that you keep pruning back, and every morning you come out in the garden, it's like, my God, that vine just grew like 3 feet overnight. How? And it climbs an impossible wall, and there's a tiny crack in the wall. That vine goes through the crack and pushes the crack open. So yi is a very clever, manipulative day master. Now, that doesn't mean negative. So don't just think, oh God, she said manipulative. That means you problem solve. You can find a way through a blockage that stops other people in their tracks. It's not a bad thing, but it is there. In fact, a famous person that has this day master was Princess Diana. And I loved her, by the way. But why I bring that up is because everyone said, oh, she's this little delicate flower. And I've studied her chart. She was this little delicate flower. She was a yi day master. She was weak. She did not have the nourishment and resource she needed to be strong. So what happened is her manipulative side came out. Now, I know you may argue me on this, but it's true. She courted the press in a way that she then couldn't handle. She tried to manipulate something she couldn't control because she wasn't strong enough. And it was not a good ending. So it's just an example that there can be strengths and weaknesses. But manipulative is not a bad word. It means you can creatively find your way through a blockage. The other part of the yi day master is sweet talker. Etiquette-wise, they know how to behave. Absolutely. Diplomatic, perseverant, fast thinking, can be coerced. They can be told, they can be coerced to change direction. So influences around them have to be good. Otherwise, they're going to go off track. They do get bored easily. It's the truth. And they seek attention, which can be self-sabotaging in relationships because there's a little bit of ego at play there for yi. Now, don't think for a minute that I have favorites and unfavorites and day masters. I'm actually just giving you the goods. I like all the day masters, but I've observed this over many years and I know how they tick. In wealth, for yi day masters, they follow the trends. They are wise to craft financial structure because they'll follow a trend and it might not be the right one, might not be a good one. It's not going to make any money. They have to be careful. They need to get help In industries, for the Yi, it's about sales, supportive coaxing roles, preaching, educating, fashion, cultural. There's a lot there, actually. And I will say categorically, any day master can do anything they want. You just need to sometimes learn a skill that's not naturally there. So never feel held in by your Bazi chart. But if you learn to go with the strengths that are there, it makes life a lot easier. All right, so if we did Yi, which is yin wood, what's next? Bing. Bing is yang fire. Wow, you know when you're in the presence of a Bing day master because they are the center of attention. They are like the sun, okay? They are the sun, and we, mere mortals, revolve around the sun. So you always know when you're in the presence of a Bing day master. I rarely work with them unless their chart has been harmed by something and that Bing isn't in good shape. Because generally they know what they're doing. They got it going on. They don't need me. That's fine. So they can be a bit self-centered, though, I have to admit. They are very enthusiastic, though, very reliable. Like the sun rises and sets every day. They're very routine driven. They like their safe zone. They like to know where things are. They're self-sufficient. They do have leadership qualities, but if they do lead you, boy, you better listen because they are the sun and you revolve around them. So do as you're told. They can be very supportive because they have that fire. Fire is often warming and life-giving. They are very illuminative and they're generous. So they're often involved in philanthropy. They're often giving. They're often involved in charities because they love to do that. They genuinely do. It's not a tax write-off. Well, it is, but it's more than that. They do like the sameness. So they're a little bit, it's tough for them when their routine is disrupted or their plan is pushed asunder because they're like, no, I had a plan and we're all going to follow the plan. And then life steps in and mucks up a plan, right? So they seek the known. They're often best to work alone, not necessarily team players. And they're quite hierarchical. So, but that's okay. They just demand the respect. They like to be on top. That's all. They're great at building communities and bringing people together. For wealth-wise, definitely risk averse and likely best in investing in real estate, and because they follow the tried and true trends, not the flippant ones. So it's not just real estate. I'm going to say in the stock market, they would follow the ones that have traditionally performed well. They might put some small amount of money into an emerging new area to dabble, but they'll keep the bulk in tried and true tested things. Industries are going to be promotional services, metaphysics, technology. So Ding is more, when I see that as your day master or in your chart, it's a way shower. Okay, it's a way shower. There is an emotional level that's there. There is a desire to be in attention, to be the center of attention, but not in the same way as Bing. Just can't do it. Just cannot garner that same kind of attention. There can be some procrastination, which can hold you back from greatness. But what I love is there is a very unique viewpoint in Ding. So we do see things differently. And I have to say we, because it's me. Definitely a game changer in your industry, whatever you decide to do. Can be influenced by others. Generally pretty happy-go-lucky. I am. Very fun-loving, self-sacrificing, which can be tricky. The self-sacrificing, the way I would describe this, if you're a Ding or it's in your chart, a candle, as it gives light to others, it burns down. So pieces of it go when it gives light to others. That is a true essence inside a Ding, and it's a problem, actually. It is tough. So Dings have to regenerate, have to learn to recharge, have to learn when to say, no, I can't give any more, because it's a weakness that they have. They do like hierarchy as well. You know, I do. We do seek kudos, but we will support everyone to the ends of the earth. All right. They can be underestimated, depends on other things in their chart. I actually love this part because people don't realize everything I can do and I don't tell them. And I'm quite fine when they underestimate my skill set. It's fine. I don't consider it a slight. I consider it funny. And I enjoy finding interesting ways to then show, not show off, but show what I can do. They're rule benders, not breakers. And I can definitely speak from experience. I won't actually break a rule, but oh my God, I'll bend it. We do seek love, I have to admit. A candle is looking for light. It's looking to guide others and be the way shower, but it wants people around it. And we do like to be nurtured and pampered a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. And quite mentally agile. So when you meet a Ding person, their mind is fast. Okay, their mind is fast. They're working on quite a few different levels. That can undermine them sometimes and come across as a bit insecure. And sometimes I have to admit that if the Ding Day Master, there can be some level of mistrust or not understanding what someone is after. We can be a little bit suspicious. We're not sure why somebody wants our energy. So I've grown into my life in my 56 years, so I know where I'm at, but that certainly was an interesting path to get here. So wealth-wise, preferring structure. Structure is better for a Ding, otherwise they can be sparking off all over and possibly losing money. Best others handle the money, I can attest to that, and best to narrow the advisors down and just listen to the ones that really matter. So industries, when you're a Ding Day Master, definitely in the promotional services, PR, technology, online sales, computers, metaphysics is a big one, and even banking, funnily enough, the earth industry of money and banking, which is very good. So if we did Ding, what are we left with? Well, we're left with the earth Day Masters, and there's two. Ready? First one is Wu. So Wu is like that big mountain. It's very, when I see that in someone's chart, I know they're going to be very principled, very charismatic, very loyal, very determined, steadfast, supportive, so many wonderful qualities. They're going to have empathy for people. They're going to provide security, but they can also be dormant like a volcano, which means they can be too quiet, but they can also be the keeper of secrets. Right? Because if you're a dormant volcano, things are inside, you haven't exploded. The challenge, though, is what I will say, anyone that holds it all in at some point is going to erupt like a volcano. But I will say that Wus, they can be very discreet. They can be highly private. Even if you think they're very public, there'll be a private side they do not show you. And they can be selective of their close circle. Love preparing. Preparing for something for them is the biggest thing, and could be a little bit single-minded at times, which can go against them because they won't let others in to advise, and I've seen that be a problem. Unreasonable at times, and it's partly because they're so private and determined. If they ask for help, it's a sign of weakness, which we all know it isn't, but sometimes they feel it is. They have no boundaries often between work and friendships. So sometimes they will meddle with things, with people. But their heart is good. The heart is so good. For wealth-wise, they love to be involved in passion projects. They love dramatic changes. They're very independent thinkers. So don't really have advisors with them. They know what they want to do. And for industries, funnily enough, coaching, connecting people, so any kind of networking or anything, connected industries, networking industries, real estate, and problem solving. Remember, they're the one that everyone goes to. They can be problem solvers. So if Wu was the yang, what is the yin? Well, it's Ji. So if you have Ji as your day master, you're the softer side of everything I've just said, actually. You're very knowledgeable, very caring, very nurturing, very durable, kind, hardworking. Like this, I could just go on with a huge list here and you're very future focused. There's a growth element to you because there's that nurturing aspect. You love to learn. You like to educate yourself. So even if you weren't educated in your younger life, you will find a way to educate yourself. You're very resourceful. Possibly what the downside I see with G day masters is they don't understand their worth. They don't recognize it. And that's a shame because I want you to recognize that you're worth something and that you're worthy and bring that into your daily life. Can be very protective of others, which is great to be supportive, but don't be too protective. And you often clean up other people's messes. Lovely, but maybe don't always clean up their messes. Maybe give them a broom and show them how to clean up their mess. Okay, but it's your natural tendency to do that. As a G-Day master, you can carry a heavy burden. I know that. You're a multitasker and you're a knowledge seeker and you love to have control of a situation. So I know you probably love paperwork, making notes. You got tons of notes on things because you're very passionate about your interests and hobbies too. So details are very important. Now, when it comes to wealth, well, tried and tested is your goal. Okay. Conservative growth for sure. And that's okay. So you're a little bit risk averse. So I wouldn't play in the stock market. I would pick your investments carefully. And because future safety is very important to you. So you can't play there and possibly lose things. For industries, you're definitely working in the earth industries, which covers real estate, banking, all sorts of things, building, natural resources, possibly some forestry as well. Okay, so I've just given you 10-day masters, and I know that's a lot of information, so please go back and watch it again. Once you know your chart for sure, look at your day master and really listen to when I spoke to you. What I would advise you to do is forecasting or understanding your actions each month is really tricky to do. And I do provide something called the Chi-cast. It's on chaposam.com. You can try it for free. I forecast each month how your month is going to be, and I talk about all sorts of things. So I do highly recommend you go and try that, okay? Otherwise, you've got your resource book. You're good to go. Okay, so where are we going now? Holy moly. That's a lot of information you've had so far, right? And we're not done. Okay, I want to actually touch base now on empowering yourself with information about timing. So again, you have information in your handout, and that's going to be your resource because I'm going to go over some things, but I'm telling you, it's a lot to take on. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, though, is what year it is, because maybe you actually, this is new information to you. So we're halfway through 2022, which metaphysically is Run Yin, Yang, Water, Tiger. Now, we've talked a little bit about branches and stems and what they mean and the whole thing. So Run is the big ocean, right? Tiger is a strong animal. Put them together, and this is why we have had such an unpredictable, chaotic year, and it's not done. I'm sorry. I wish I could say it's going to be quiet. It's not. The year is only halfway through. So this whole feeling of we advance, we retreat, we observe, we attack, we get a scratch across the face by someone. It's like, ow, that hurt. This is the tiger in action. The run part is the ocean. So there's the little wave, and then there's a tsunami of stuff coming at us. Then it recedes, and it comes back again, and it knocks us off our feet again. This is the kind of year. But how about we step back and we start to learn about the months and what they mean to you? So I mentioned, I'm not sure if I mentioned it yet, but there are interactions with your birth chart, because I talked about a static chart, which is when you were born, but dynamic being the luck pillars. So this is kind of where I'm going now. This is our final piece. So don't worry, we're just going to tie it up with a little bow right now. But each month, each year, each month, your Bazi chart will be interacted with by the year, the month, the day, the hour. And it's part of something I do for people called date selection. It's helping them understand when to do things. And it's timing based on their Bazi chart. So there's a bunch of things called clashes, combinations, self-penalties, destructions, harms, bullying, punishments. I mean, it goes on and on, on and on. I'm going to talk to three for you. I'm going to talk about combinations, self-penalties, and clashes. And I'm going to start with clashes. So I'm going to disappear for a second because I want you to see how this plays out. So the calendar in the Chinese calendar is actually named by animals. So we say January is ox month. It's just a marker of time. But January is not the first month of the Chinese calendar. We actually work with February, which is actually Tiger month, because that is the solar start to the year. And it's also the timeline that the Farmer's Almanac uses. So it is the timeline I want you to get in gear with. The calendar that is January 1st to December 31st is the Gregorian calendar. That was made by Pope Gregory hundreds of years ago, just to tidy things up. That's all it does. In history, we've always worked with the solar calendar, and we watch the moon as well, right? We watch the ebb and the flow between the sun and the moon. It controls the tides and everything. So this is the more natural rhythm of things. March month is a rabbit. April is dragon. May is a snake, June is a horse, July is goat, and August is monkey, which is where we are right now, having some monkey fun, right? September is rooster, October is dog, November is pig, and December is rat. So you don't need to remember these. These are not things that you have to commit to memory. But what I will advise you to do is to hop onto my newsletter, because each month I talk about the months and I explain what's coming your way because of the animal in charge, because it is the energy influence, okay? And it will have an impact on you. Now, I had referenced these interactions of clashes and combinations and things. So let's jump to the first one. These first 4 animals, so there's 12 animals, and they divide into 3 groups. Every animal has one that opposes it. So the rabbit and the rooster are opposite each other. They don't get along. The horse and the rat are opposite each other. They don't get along. But what's important about these 4 is they're cardinal animals, which means they're pure energy. Their influence is very pristine. So when these 4 animals clash, it just means a fairly big change on something that's quite intrinsic to your core, it's a belief you really believe in. It's something that's very important to you. So that's the first set. Now, if we move to these guys, these are called the traveling animals. They're often called mobility, traveling animals. It doesn't really matter. It means they're mobile. So the snake opposes the pig and the tiger opposes the monkey. Vice versa, of course. It goes both ways. So what's interesting with this is when these clash, there are changes in physical directions, like changes in movement. Sometimes it's moving house, moving jobs, and it will depend where it is in your chart. So let me give you an example. Say you have a tiger in your birth chart, in your career, in your month, and we get to monkey month, which is August. But before that, you're thinking, oh, I really would like to make a change in my career, but I'm a little bit scared too. I don't know whether the timing's right. Well, guess what? If you wait till August, the timing's right, because it will be monkey month, which means a direct clash to the tiger of your month, which is your career and life focus, which means change. When that comes forward, it means change is easier to make. It's like a secret door opening saying, hey, if you want to make a change, here you go. Now, you can not make a change. That's up to you. But I always advise people to make some kind of a change because the energy is far more powerful than you and I. So in a nutshell, it means that when an animal opposes something in your chart, when a month is opposite to something in your chart, it's going to create change. And with these 4 animals, it's movement, it's mobility. It can be thinking, okay, but it's often a sense of movement. Now, the next set, these 4 are different, okay? We've got the ox opposing the goat, and we've got the dragon opposing the dog, and of course, vice versa. What's different about these guys is they're called graveyard animals, which is it's a very negative term. So I don't like to use that term. I say these animals are like secret treasure chests, and they all hold something powerful. Okay, for example, the dragon holds the secret power of water hidden within. The dog holds secret power of fire. The goat holds secret power of wood, and the ox holds secret power of metal. Now, you might be thinking, okay, like, is this like a Marvel comics thing, Sam? Like, what are you talking about? Well, this becomes very important because when we look at your Bazi chart, based off your day master, we can work out if metal is your wealth, is water your power, is wood your resource, which can be your health. We actually work out what the elements mean. And then when there is a direct clash to them, this clash can be good because it unearths something. It releases what is hidden in that treasure chest. So for example, the dragon, it has water hidden within. If water is your wealth and it's clashed open in dog month, which is October, that means wealth-making opportunities are going to come forward for you. You still have to act on them. It's not like money just pours in. It just means that your wealth may have been hidden or hindered, and now it's about to be released. What you do with it is up to you. So these clashes are not to be feared. It's very important that you don't worry over them. Clashes are actually good. They mean change. So what is your one takeaway from that? One takeaway. Clash means change. So don't be scared of a clash. It's the one word, interestingly enough, that everyone is terrified of. And I'm trying to say, demystify that. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. What I will say is that when we go through change, it's uncomfortable. We don't like it. Doesn't matter we put our hand up for it. Doesn't matter we decided to do it. Doesn't matter we said, okay, bring it on. It's uncomfortable because it's different from what we know. So you have to go through that uncomfortableness. My famous saying is, get comfortable being uncomfortable, but go with the change, especially this tiger year. So clashes are not a big deal, but say you are having one and things aren't going so well because it's a clash year maybe, so that's 12 months of lots of change. Is there something you can do to make things easier for yourself? If you knew something, would it help? Yes, it would. Let's dive into the next set, which is the combinations. These are called combinations, often referred to as secret friends, and can be talismans. Now, I say that I don't use talismans at all because I believe our actions create our environment. I cannot wear a dragon amulet and become very career focused. I cannot wear a monkey amulet and suddenly travel everywhere. It doesn't work that way. But there are some people who believe in that. I ask you to put your belief in yourself. Never put it in a physical item. You are the creator of your life and the creator of your environment. And what you put out is what you get back. But these pairings are useful. So let me show you how. So for example, we'll just go to the top there. The horse and the goat, they're friends. So let's think about this. Say you have a horse in your month. Okay, you're born in June, so you've got a horse in your month. And we get to December, which is a direct clash. And you might be thinking, oh my God, I remember Sam said there'll be change in my career if there's a direct clash there. Well, there's a bit more to it than that, but yes, I did say it, so I'm going to back it up right now. So you're starting to worry because you don't want to change your career. So I'm going to advise you to make a small change because you've always got to go with the flow. But what can you do? Well, you can look for the timing of the goat to ease things up, or you find someone that has a goat in their chart to become your friend and help you through that situation. So this becomes super, super useful. Knowing who your secret friend is easy. You know your friend's birth dates. Go to my website, create their charts and screen grab them so you've got them. Because these are your friends. These are the people that will help you through the tough times. Now, when you connect with people, you know, we like to say, oh, I connected with someone because we work together, so we think the same. No, it's not really that way. You connect with people because you connect on a Bazi level. Your friends, the really good friends you have, they have something that you need and you have something they need. It becomes a symbiotic relationship. And that is Bazi working completely as it should. So the horse and the goat are friends. The snake and the monkey are friends. The dragon and the rooster are friends. The rabbit and the dog, the tiger and the pig, and the ox and the rat. Again, you don't have to commit these to memory. They're in your handout, but you can use the timing. So another example is, say you're born the tiger, okay? You're actually born year of the tiger, and it's year of the monkey. So it's like, oh my God, I remember Sam said that's a direct clash. My whole year is terrible. No, it's not. It just means you're probably going to be pushed. Your boundaries are going to be pushed, your buttons are going to be pushed, and you're going to change some things about your life. But you can look for pig days, the pig month, and pig people to help you through that transition. So it's understanding who your friends are. Okay, I will agree, combinations are fun, and they're most commonly known because of the talismans. You know, if you wear a bracelet with this on it, it's your friend and you'll be lucky and your friend is going to help you. Well, not really. But you go with what you want to do. You do you. Combinations are helpful when you're going through a difficult time. To use the timing of a month or a day or even a year, if you're planning that far ahead, is very helpful to get where you want to go. So they're not just something that can help you out of a bad spot. They can help you move to a good spot. If you want to take your company public, Heck, you're going to use a combination to do that because you want to bring partners in, right? If you want to just get more clients, you might use a combination month so that you can say to people, hey, I got what you need. Come here and draw people to you. There's so many ways to use combinations, and they are positive. I've never seen a combination go bad. Now, having said that, is there one last one I want to give you out of the 7 that I could? Yes, there is. It's something called a self-penalty. This one's tough. Let me show you. This one's a tougher one. It's called a self-penalty. And there's only 4 animals that do this. And quite frankly, what it means is when it happens, you create your own problems. You are the creator of your problem. It's a self-penalty. And what it is when you see, it's like see another version of yourself. So the first animal is a horse. So if you're born year of the horse, and it's actually year of the horse, that's a self-penalty. It means your actions could cause problems. That can happen in the month. You're born year of the horse, but it's month of the horse in June, right? Or it can be day, it can be all sorts of things. But 2 horses appearing means you are going to cause your own problem. Another one is dragon. Dragons are tough because they're the strongest animal, in my opinion, in the Chinese metaphysical calendar. So when 2 of them appear, trouble follows fast. So the reason I'm sharing this is so that you can become aware. And this is super important to be on my newsletter because I highlight these every month. So you don't have to remember it. I actually highlight it for you. Now, are you starting to squirm in your seat thinking, well, there's 2 down, there's 10 to go. Am I one of the unlucky ones? Well, you could be if you have a rooster in your birth chart. Okay, when a rooster meets another rooster, and rooster is September month, that creates a penalty. And last but not least, do we have a drum roll? Almost. We've got the pig. So when these animals see themselves, it's a self-penalty. Do not panic. And I'm going to give you an example here. The reason I don't want you to panic is because I am born year of the horse, month of the dragon. So this cycles quite regularly for me. What I've learned, though, how I handle it, how I advise you to handle this information, is to take it and breathe, in a sense. I know that during those periods of time, when it's a horse year, a horse month, or dragon month, or dragon year, or dragon day, I seek advice. When I want to do something, I actually go to my trusted crew and say, hey, got this idea. And they'll either shoot me down with like, oh my God, Sam, that's the most stupidest idea you've ever had. If you do that, it's going to cost you a ton of money and I don't see it working. Or they'll say, you know what, your idea is neat, but it's raw. Let us work on it. Let us finesse it because we don't think you've got it right, Sam. And chances are they're correct because I'm in a self-penalty moment, which means I'm going to cause the problem. So I get help. I hand things off to other people. I'm still got my finger on the pulse. I'm still there. I just know that that's a time I need some help. Oh my God, I hear you, right? Self-penalty is not fun, but you can learn to live with them. If I've learned to live with them, I think you can too. Self-penalties are ourselves causing the issue. So that's brilliant in the sense that if you're the one causing the issue, you can change that. You can't change what someone else does to you, but you can change what you do. So don't get hung up with self-penalties and look at it in your chart and think, oh my God, that's just a really, really, really bad thing. And I'm never going to get past it. Yes, you are. Okay. The most successful people that I work with have very interesting Bazi charts. Trust me, none of them have these smooth charts where everything's just flowing nicely and no one's clashing anyone. They all have what we would call problems in their chart. That is what makes them unique. That is what makes them overcome challenges. And then they learn through that and become better versions of themselves. And they take that to their work and they become quite successful. Now, success is different for everyone. For some, it's money. For some, it's a title, a position. For others, it's a home life. For someone else, it's just painting every day. Success is what you want it to be. And my takeaways as we draw to a close here are that I want you to understand, to embrace who you are. You are amazing the way you are. Don't let people change you. Grow in the areas that you want to grow so you can be the best version of yourself. enhance your life by knowing your skill set, by knowing who you are, by accepting who you are, so you can make better decisions in your life. And empower yourself by understanding there's a time to advance, there's a time to do things, and sometimes the time is not now. And that's okay. The universe is way bigger than you and I. We're just mere mortals along for the ride. If you can learn to love yourself, to embrace who you are, and to be open to what the universe brings to you, your life can be very abundant, purposeful, successful, financially viable, whatever you want it to be. So once again, I want to thank you for spending your time with me. I know this masterclass got a little bit long, but there was just so much I wanted to pack in. I'm very grateful to be invited to this summit. Thank you guys, and come find me on my website. I've got so much more to share with you. You thought we were done, didn't you? No, once you have a Sam, you always have a Sam. Actually, what I wanted to do was end our session today back in my forest. This is a park right by my house that I go to every single day because I do believe in nature. What I wanted to pass to you right now, though, was there are so many free resources on my site. We haven't begun to talk about your Mingwa, which is your guardian spirit, and other elements of your birth chart. So please go to the website and pull up the free resources and download them. They are yours for free. While you're there, have a look at something under the guidance tab called the Chi Cast, because I've been talking about your day master all this time. And what I want you to do is to be empowered every month. And I provide that with a video forecast. And you can go and try it. Just log in and give it a shot. But you will find that the information I share with you each month through a video format is going to give you the confidence to make decisions that positively impact your life. So go check it out and have some fun there, all right? Now we're done. It's the evening here, and I'm ready for cocktail hour and a walk by the ocean. So guys, it's been a blast. Have a fabulous year ahead. See ya.